In this video, I will not be showing you how to figure out and cut all of the stair stringers and the rest of the components. However, I will be providing you with a stairway that I built one time for a second story home addition and some of the reasons why I built it that way. So let's go ahead and get started with the front door here. So you will come into the front door and into a little entryway, and then you will come through the stairs into a dining room, living room, or you can go into the garage or up the stairs to the second story addition. And another thing I would like to point out in the video is that I have created other videos for this second story addition on one of my other channels, and there will be links to those in the video description box. So go ahead and check those out if you're interested in how to convert a single story house into a two-story house. So let's go ahead and get started with our tour. We have the floor framing and the double joist on each side that will be supporting the other joist here, along with a double joist that we will use to connect the stair stringers to at the top. And of course our double and single hangers. And this will also be the ceiling in the garage, along with the walls that will be supporting the landing. Now, if you notice here, I set this back an inch, and that's because we're going to be using the rim joist here as one of our risers. Otherwise, I would have set it back 1 3/4 inches if I was going to use a piece of material for the riser that was going to be 3/4 of an inch thick and then attach it to the front of the rim joist. And that will make a little more sense later on, along with bringing this plate out so that I could make a nice connection to the wall framing studs. And this might not seem like a big deal, but I've seen plenty of framers stop this right here and then add some type of a spacer block, and that won't be needed if you do it this way, along with a ledger that we will use to connect the lower stair stringers to the platform. Next up, let's go ahead and install the stairway. And we're going to be using 2x12 for our stair stringers, along with 3/4 inch OSB for our treads and risers. And we will be installing 2x4 studs that are going to be angled at the top underneath the stringers on both sides, so that we can drywall the sides of the stairway so that we can have a nice flat wall here. And of course, we will need to install angled fire blocks. And for those of you wondering why we nailed a 2x4 onto the side of the stringer, that would be to provide us with enough space to install drywall and a skirt board up against the inside of the stair. So that would be on both sides of the stairs. And of course, our rim joist here, we did not put a riser on here. And something like this will usually require you to remove an additional 3/4 of an inch off of the top of the stringer. So just don't do this without doing this. And of course our 1-inch overhang or nosing, and our fire blocks around the perimeter of the landing. And our joists are going to cantilever into the garage. And for those of you wondering why I don't have any wall framing here, that's because this opening is going to have sliding closet doors. And I will need to get a little creative here when I'm finishing it. And really all I'm going to do is attach one sheet of drywall here, and then glue it to the piece of drywall I put on the other side. And if you needed more room, you could always move this joist back a little bit so that the drywall on this side could run all the way down, so that you could nail the back of the drywall into the joist and the front of the drywall into the framing on the other side. And of course I have blocks here so that we can break the plywood. And I wouldn't be doing this if I wasn't going to be building a wall above here. And you'll learn more about that in a future video when I show you how I'm going to tie everything together. So if this was going to be our landing and it was going to run all the way across here, I would try to put the break underneath the stair stringers if I could. And of course our cantilevered landing here so that our stringers can sit on top of it. and we will need a wall here. So let's go ahead and build one. We will have an angle at the top and an angle at the bottom, and you will need to check with your local building department. Sometimes you will need a 2-hour firewall underneath the stairway in a garage. So that would require 2 layers of 5/8 Type X drywall anywhere where the stairway was going to be exposed inside of the garage. Hopefully that makes sense. And all of our framing can be attached with 16D nails and a view of the cantilever along with the joist. And you can use hangers if you want to. Something like this I wouldn't feel would need it. However, I do understand that there are a lot of people who are hung up on hangers and almost every type of building hardware out there. I came from an era where they were just starting to use all of this stuff. And of course, our wash machine drain pipe, this is going to require a vent. So we will be notching the blocks for the vent and any of the water lines, or even the dryer vent. Another thing that we are going to need on this project. An upper view of the lower stairway, the landing, and there will be a wall built over this part of the landing to create a flat interior wall on both sides of the stairway, or should I say all 4 sides of the stairway. And you can see here where we have an 1.5 inch gap so that we can slide our drywall down and then slide a 1 by or 3/4 inch thick piece of lumber that we're going to be using for our skirt board without having to notch around each one of the steps. And one last thing I want to point out is that when you are building a house with stairs, it will benefit you to locate the stairway in a spot that will reduce the travel of traffic throughout the house. For example, if I come in the front door and I have to go to the back of the house to climb up the stairway so that I can go to the bedroom in the front of the house, that's not going to be the best spot. And in a situation like this, near the center of the building might be best. And with that said, I will go ahead and wrap this video up. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment area, and don't forget to check out the other videos for this 2-story home edition, and those can usually be found at our website.